What did you do with that emotion? What did you do with that emotion? Did you react? Yes. Or did you repress it? Yes. Did you say, no, I'm not going to give my opinion again or say anything again? I know it's uncomfortable, but the invitation to chaotic leadership is just that. It's about acting from discomfort. From discomfort, we're going to start acting and we're going to start shining. I want you to go out and start talking and start questioning why. Why is it done that way? Always within the standards of respect. If you've ever had to consciously repress a particular emotion in order to end, this is certainly not an invitation to begin arguing or fighting. Absolutely not. Are you going to share your point of view? Yes. And from this point of view, what you're going to do is make your voice heard, because that's what a leader does. A leader of chaos, an agent of chaos. That's what a leader of chaos does. They express themselves. They give their opinion. They share their point of view. They don't stay silent. They don't just follow others. They don't keep going down the same path. They don't become just like everyone else. Okay? Leading isn't just about making decisions. It's also about holding ourselves together emotionally in the face of what we can't control. The smartest person is the one who knows how to manage their emotions, not suppress them. Because emotion is what gives life its essence. Emotion is what inspires. Emotion is what gives hope. Emotion is what makes things start to happen beyond what's normal. If we were machines, if we didn't feel, if nothing at all happened to us, development and evolution wouldn't have reached the point they're at today. But it's thanks to emotion that we generate hope, anger, hatred, resentment, love, and support. Each of these feelings, happiness, sincerity, helps us evolve more quickly. Because from a single emotion, extraordinary things can start to happen. From the emotion of frustration, most people out there in their daily lives often see frustration as the absolute greatest sin, a truly unforgivable transgression that one can possibly commit in any given situation. And so, to avoid feeling frustrated again, guess what they do? They stop trying. Let's move forward. They stop trying. And each time, we become more fearful. We become more fearful. And in the end, we end up giving up. You have to be very stubborn. You have to be very passionate. You have to allow yourself to be judged with the intention of learning and leveraging it. Every time someone judges me or talks about me or tries to hurt me with their comments, I do two primary things. First, I allow them to speak freely and attentively, listen to their valuable opinion, and then immediately I endeavor to create a strong mental anchor. What they say does not define me at all. That's it. And I take the opportunity to understand how their mind works. Not long ago, someone told me, Juan, thanks to that business we did Imagine, it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we started a business. The business failed. And this person says to me, I believed him. I believed in you. And I let myself be carried along. And today my life is over. And I say to him, no, that can't be. I mean, it can't be that a business defines you, first of all, and second, that there's still a child living inside you. Because I understand that a child looks for someone to blame because they don't know any better. But you are an adult. An adult, but it seems like you're a child in an adult's body. I don't see the reason why you judge me. I wasn't even the owner of the business. I just did the same thing you were doing, and that's it. It's that simple. And the business failed. But you were the one promoting it and the one who pushed it, of course. I did it. Of course I did. Yes, I agree. But you can't define or expect or put the responsibility for your actions on someone else. And that's called character. That's called maturity. When responsibility, listen, careful responsibility for your decisions, the responsibility for your decisions lies specifically and solely with you. And you always see it that way, and you don't look for someone to blame, no matter how much someone else tried to hurt you, no matter how much someone else tried to deceive you or told you things to make that happen. Simply at that point, that's when you'll be able to move forward. Until then, you'll be playing with your own destiny. You look for the perfect excuse not to take action. I know people who say, it's because of my husband that I haven't been able to achieve things, because of my wife, because she doesn't let me, because she doesn't let me do things. So to make her happy, I said, no, then separate from her. No, but it's because I love her. So stop making excuses and stop measuring your life by other people's decisions. And if you consistently do this, it's primarily because your unconscious mind is actively acting as a hidden influential leader. And you're repeating a pattern. So you truly need to deeply analyze from the very deepest place you have ever profoundly reached and explored. Is about why you're repeating the cycle. And you don't need to answer this for me or answer me with the number one. Only those who want to answer me. Why are you repeating the cycle of those you used to criticize so much? Or why are you repeating the cycle of your parents and grandparents? Take a look back and you realize that you're repeating the same pattern, generating the same emotion, the same reaction, and the same result. Those individuals who truly begin to free themselves from that profound and deeply ingrained connection are because you do not genuinely respect your fundamental roots. No, that is absolutely not what this particular situation is truly about. It's about understanding what is controlling you right now, what is defining you at this moment, and taking control. Stop acting on autopilot. Because today, out of 100% of the things you do, 95% of them are done on autopilot. You just react to whatever happens. We keep moving forward, and that's how it goes. Like that. It's just way, way too hard to be truly able to move forward and really understand in depth how I can actually start to take concrete and meaningful action. That is what I need. That's precisely why, right here and now, I'm going to outline 5 essential steps on exactly how I can effectively begin to lead and guide my own unconscious mind. The first thing I have to do is self-observe without judging myself at all. Start interpreting and just start observing. Don't worry about how you feel or where you feel it. No, no, no. What I want you to do right now is ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Where do I feel it? In what part of my body? And what is the story I'm telling myself to justify my mediocrity? Write them down. Why do I feel that way? Where do I feel it? And what story am I telling myself to justify my mediocrity? Because everything that you are doing right now is simply to justify the life that you truly do not want to live. It is that simple, indeed. After that, you should simply listen very carefully and attentively to what is being said. This. I just really want you to clearly hear the distinct and unique sound of the human voice, specifically its rich and resonant qualities. Reproduce the exercise. If you want, at the end of this chapter, I just want you to analyze and you listen to yourself in the silence. Hopefully, when everything is quiet, before you go to rest, you will look at that inner dialogue and confront the fear. I want you to confront it. Talk to the fear. Talk to that voice. Without censorship, speak to it directly. And I am truly afraid of potentially letting down my beloved loved ones, and that weighs heavily on me. I am truly afraid of remaining in the very same place where I currently am. I'm afraid that my words, that what I say someday won't come true. I'm afraid that what I'm doing will fail. I'm afraid to risk giving my heart to someone again and in the end not knowing if it's going to work out. I'm afraid to let go of what I have today to search for and move toward the unknown and not knowing if it will really work out. And by searching for the unknown, by being the chaos, I might lose the most valuable thing I have today. That's the kind of fear I have. And you're going to start working from the shadow. And you are going to look at which specific aspects you are rejecting. And what part you deny, but criticize in others. Everything you criticize is something you also lack. That's where the treasure is. That's where everything you judge and point out. Because what you see in others is what you lack yourself. And that's what you need to strengthen. And that's when you start to carefully observe your body and your natural breathing. I am going to recommend some specific waves, often referred to as beta waves. Many people frequently discuss alpha waves, but it is important to specifically look for beta waves. And do this exercise in these 5 steps. With a deep breath, hold your breath for 10 seconds and then release. And you start doing the steps. Do you self-observe? Why do I feel this way? Where do I feel it? In what part of my body? And what is the story I tell myself to justify my mediocrity? Do you wait? Do you listen? Internally, isn't there a voice that speaks? Internally, you have a dialogue with that voice. It talks about your fears. You start to see what it is that you are rejecting about yourself. What is it that you are hiding from yourself? And you start to breathe. And you start to replace in your body and with your breath. You start to replace that voice. That voice that tells you that you won't make it, that it's not possible. You are going to replace it with your true voice, the voice that achieves everything. The search reaches everything. The search makes everything possible. The search is willing to try 1,000 times over. Because as a leader of chaos, you see chaos, you work there, you live there. It's part of your story. You stop running from chaos, because if there is chaos in your life, it's because you are a different person, a person who stands out, who breaks all the standards. And by being that person, you will inevitably have chaos in your life. Because if you were an ordinary person, you wouldn't even be at this conference. The ordinary person right now is just waiting for their next order. They're waiting for their next day just to repeat it again. Not to live one more day, but to live the same day. The same day, doing the same thing. Because there are people who have been alive for 10, 20, 30 years, but they've lived the same day every single day. And you are that person who feels uncomfortable. You are that person who's breaking standards. You are that person who is definitely making every day different, who is looking for alternatives, who is exploring the lives of others because you want to learn from them. You want to solve the problem because you know that when you solve someone else's problem, you're actually working on yourself internally. That's who you are. That's who you are. Let's now move forward. And why exactly is this so incredibly crucial? Why is it so crucial to start leading the unconscious? Thank you to everyone who is joining in. Here Steve Ward says, I am afraid of all that, of not being able to become, but feeling fear is okay. It's what reminds me that I'm in the right place. If there's no fear, then that's not the place. Fear is the sign that something extraordinary is happening. That's right. That's right. Very good. Congratulations to everyone who is joining in. Where are you tuning in from? Write it there. From such and such place, Juan. Unconnected. What happens when you don't lead your unconscious? What happens then? I'm going to tell you what you could end up losing, or maybe what has already been lost, but today you're here and maybe that will stop happening. This is a journey. It's a process. Little by little. The usual question, Juan, how do you do it? How do you make it work? Because I do it, I try, and it doesn't work. That's the level. Okay, it's simple. Process. It's a process. It's about understanding that the process can take as long as I take to accept it. That's it, period. This is what I'm going to do. There may be more opportunities, there may be more options, but this is what I'm going to make work. Be there. How long will it take? As long as it takes. But I'm going to make it work. When you don't lead your subconscious, you create an emotional disconnection, and then you do things on autopilot. And this happens a lot. I really like this example. It's like when an artificial intelligence starts talking to you, you notice it, right? As of today, you can still tell. There will come a time when it will be imperceptible to humans. But today, you can still tell. The ability to create what a human does in a video hasn't arrived yet, but it will. That's how it happens. It disconnects you automatically. I mean, there could be a blurry video, but if it's a person communicating, it grabs your attention more than, say, an AI trying to convey the same message, but it does it in a different tone, with a different voice. It does it, no, it doesn't connect. The message doesn't connect. The essence of the message is lost. Maybe as filler, and for those who are just tuned in, well, they listen and it works. But it will never be the same. It will never be the same. So, to the question many people ask, when you speak, I really feel it. I tell them it's because I'm speaking to you from the heart. I'm not here trying to hide any feelings. Obviously, I want you to connect with me. Obviously, I want us to soar together. Of course, I want you to understand what I'm doing and to resonate on the same frequency so that when you speak with others, you can convey it in the same way. That's why it's important for you to understand the background of what's being done. But I'm speaking to you from the heart. So when you don't lead your unconscious, And here's the answer. I work on my unconscious, because my unconscious leads me to carry out repetitive processes, repetitive actions physically, which are reflected externally, and it's something I can't control. The more aware you are that all the decisions you make come from the unconscious, the more of a leader you become. And then you start to act in the right way. When you don't do this, you make reactive decisions instead of strategic ones. That's where the confrontation and the problem arise. And you get yourself into trouble. And when you realize it, you say, how was I acting like that? I didn't notice. I'm sorry. You have no other choice. And then you start to repeat family patterns automatically. I don't justify the bad actions of some people, but there's a well-known saying that often goes, the end truly justifies the means. And I replace it with the following. The means are what should lead you to your end without hurting anyone, without affecting anyone. Of course, you have to try in different ways. Of course, you have to look for a way because you have to get there no matter what. But if you're hurting someone along the way, it really doesn't matter what you're after. If, in order to reach my goal, I have to erase, trample, or harm someone else, then you're not a true leader. Perhaps you might even be considered a dictator. Let's move forward so that we can now fully understand and truly grasp what I'm telling you right now. True leadership in its most authentic form doesn't begin in a boardroom, nor does it originate from a position of power or authority. It truly begins when you sit alone with your own thoughts and personal storms, reflecting deeply on your inner turmoil. This chapter is the foundation of honest, mature human leadership. This chapter is dedicated to and is already a stage of beginning to awaken. In the last 6 chapters, we've been defining everything and everyone you need right now to start changing, to understand the background of what chaotic leadership with purpose truly is. And chaotic leadership with purpose is nothing more than understanding that each of us is an agent and that we can either be the ones who take action or ultimately just be part of the common denominator. We have gone through breaking out of that cage that seemed golden. We have come to understand fear, and I don't want you to let go of it, but rather to go with it. Because if I focus on erasing fear, on taking away all your fear, ultimately fear is what defines you and what drives you to take that step, that leap, because you want to stop feeling it. But it's also what you need as dynamite to achieve everything you need, everything you want to reach. We have also gone through this chapter number 4, the illusion of control, because for a long time we were told that the more control you had, the more successful you would be, and you realize that's not the case. We talked about the power of radical decision, the ability to make a radical decision, and we discussed the comfort zone. And in this chapter, we are definitely defining how in chapter 7, what you really have to do is start leading from the unconscious, managing your leadership from the unconscious. If you like chapter 7, you can't even imagine what's going to happen in the next ones. Each of us works every day to achieve things, to accomplish things. But there is something that will never forgive you. There is something that runs out every day and you can't replace it. And no matter how hard you try, it's something you lose every day. So you are truly going to focus intently on precisely how you're going to make the absolute most of it. And that, my friends, is indeed chapter 8. Time, as we all know, is absolutely non-negotiable. Each and every one of these profound chapters inherently carries deeply and intrinsically down within its very core the fundamental essence of truly chaotic leadership. An invitation for you to stop being just one of the crowd, to be that crack through which the whole wall gives way and you break it. Be that crack, that sigh, and that idea that someone needs to take that leap, to take a risk, to go after what they've always wanted to do. What's the point of accumulating so much? What's the point of working so hard if in the end you're not doing what you love? I know it's hard to let go, but that's my invitation to let go, to give yourself over to your ideal, to your purpose, to your life. What you truly want to do, what you desire, if you work on it, I assure you, you'll be able to achieve everything in your life. And if not, and if it doesn't turn out that way, there's no need to worry. You're doing what you love. You're doing what you truly came here to do. I love this. This is what makes me wake up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, sleeping barely 2 or 3 hours. I love this. This defines me. This is what I want to do my whole life. Help people, serve them. That one day someone will say to me, Juan, thanks to the fact that I listened to you one day. I remember it was way past 10 at night, maybe 11, but I was listening to you. And today, thanks to that, I started to grow. I started to really give it a try. And I started to do, I didn't start to negotiate because I was always negotiating. We say maybe this, maybe that. I said, this is what I'm going to do, period. And I've come across many stories like that. Many people that I see today, maybe even speak the way I do. And that's fine, that's fine. For me, it's a form of recognition, but it's for the simple reason. And if they keep doing it, it's because that's truly what they have been looking for a long time. But they didn't do it because they were missing that push, that moment. And that person who will tell you, you can achieve it, you can do it. Don't be afraid of pain. It's your greatest ally, it's your best friend. If you're feeling pain, it's because you're being different. If you're feeling pain, if you're feeling criticism, it's because you're standing up from the crowd. Don't want to be criticized, don't want to be rejected, then don't seek anything. But if you are seeking, it's because it's inside you. That leader is inside you. And it's entirely up to you whether you perceive criticism as something inherently bad, or instead you thoughtfully tell yourself, this is precisely what I was diligently looking for. Because if they're criticizing you, it's because you're becoming important. And by being important, you become the person who, in the end, will mean a lot to them. You're placing yourself in their minds, in their hearts. That's what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, this is chapter 7. Guys, thank you so much for staying with me up to this point. Thank you for being here. Don't forget that chapters 29 and 30 will be written at the military camp from the 29th of August to the 1st of September. If you found what you've heard so far valuable, you can't even imagine what you'll experience at that camp. Mark it on your calendar right now. We'll be near the city of Bogota, Colombia. Wherever you're listening to me from, please, whether you hear this message on iPod, on YouTube, or anywhere else, please come and bring many more with you, because I assure you that a human being will enter, and a superhero will emerge, a heroine will emerge, an extraordinary woman will emerge, a man will come out who will stop being a follower and start becoming the leader the community needs. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. See you next time, and pay attention. Chapter 8 is non-negotiable. If you like that chapter, no, forget it. Look, there's something I've truly studied, and that's time. So I'll see you there, guys. Take care. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day, an excellent night, with all the attitude, with all the strength. This was Juan Jimenez, creator of prosperity, abundance, and wealth. Bye.